Thanks for the introduction. On line with the innovation and creativity team today, I am happy to talk about design, and especially about urban design, as you mentioned, one of the implementation of what we architects can do. I'm an architect and I work for Cork County Council, but I've been practicing as urban designer for the past 15 years. And the greatest asset working in Cork County Council is the great collaboration between departments, and we break down silos. We really work together very well between engineers and heritage planners. And since a year ago, I joined actually the water service department with the county engineers, working in a department called Capital Project Implementation Team. I'm going to show you a few of these projects that are the successful outcome of this collaboration, but also the collaboration with external agency like OPW, like TII, which we have been working together. So I named my slideshow All the World's Stage, and I want to mention a young girls architect saying that consider urban life before urban spaces and consider urban spaces before buildings. So I would like you for a moment to imagine that your town where you live is a stage, and we are, as citizens, the actor of our life. And just in terms of the urban design, I think the urban designer is that stage set designer, and it's a perfect space for people to act in their daily life. And the master planning in particular is a very good tool that provides us with a phased vision. It's important to have a vision and then trying to provide any phases for investment that they come on. In fact, it is hard to design a space which will not attract people, says William White. What is remarkable, though, is how often this has been accomplished. And this is a photo of a space in Cork City, not during the lockdown, actually. It's a very well-designed public realm. However, there is a little missing link about active facade and what urban design see. It's about the built environment and the public space. So working together with collaboration also includes people, and that's the beginning at the end. It's important for us to actually know the place better, and the better way is through the people. And participatory design process is really our strong and forte in when we approach design. Like, for example, this in particular is Middleton Streetscape, which is my next project on site, and the collaboration with the Chamber of Commerce at design stage. In fact, Design a town as a stage set. In this photograph, you can see how we can imagine our town square becoming the living room, like if it was a home. And the street furniture becomes very important to attract people to stop, to shop, and to have fun together. So for a moment, my message is reimagine and don't reestate. And this is a nice little policy that I always mention about Cork County Council. At each pothole, there's an opportunity for a public space. And again, every civil engineering works contract in an urban area is therefore an opportunity to do something more together. Reclaiming the stage and building resilience is the theme of my presentation. And Clonakilty is a little town, as a typical Irish town, as a main street. That main street seems to be often either a regional road or a national road with heavy engineering standard and application. What is a city that works so? And this is my hometown in Sicily, where you can see a wealth of public space intertwined. And how do we use the space? What is the stage in our towns? It's sport, religion, music, political. But this is also common in Ireland, because what happened to our towns? When you look at this slide in 19th century, looking at Inner Shannon, the man with Bantry were full of people. The public space was stage of activity, while with the car advent in the 1980, you can see how the place was transformed. So what happened to our public space? And this is a slide showing one of the first public traffic light in London, 1913, where people thought this was going to solve our lives. But look at how we have transformed our towns. And this is an audit I do for my works, and it's like, do you think this is an attractive place? Would you bring your child here for Christmas, or would you sit here? And again, would you stay longer in this place? Back to my main street as the first slide. This is the main street and how we transformed it. When I talked to road engineers, my colleagues, I said, why do we have all of this? The answer is, well, that's for calm the traffic, Giulia. My answer was, in Sicily, to calm the traffic, actually, we use ice cream stands and octogenarians. And you're probably familiar with towns in Sicily and Italy. This is a little place in the mountain of Palermo where there is a bakery, and the bakery actually operates between a very busy road and there is a square. This would be considered very dangerous in Ireland, but actually there are people like elderly people, they're really part of the community in the town center. They actually act like traffic calming, because you probably have experience that to drive and to be stuck in somebody working slow. Clonakilty 400 is the point. It's an urban design master plan. And we only had budget for 1 square, but it was important to have a plan. The plan, in fact, includes 2 squares and a streetscape. The first phase, actually, with the economic recession, we were able to build with 1 million 2 squares rather than 1. And this was in 2013. The second phase is the streetscape, which was built in 2016. And the third phase, I call it the OPW Flood Relief Scheme, which is at the moment on construction stage. What happened the month before we signed the contract with the contractor for phase 1, the big flood event happened in 2012. It was devastating. And the community felt like we were doing the wrong investment by doing public realm, but actually it was important to have leadership of Cork County Council and keep going for resilient community. This is Esna Square very quickly. This was how the place looked before and what was actually in the 19th century and how quality design in this stage, in this time, urban design can actually deliver something very transformative. And economic development comes from public realm. It's not only about pretty paving, it's about economic development, social, cultural, and community. Aston Square, this is a very Georgian square. The Victorian, there was a Victorian grid in the park. This was not working. There was antisocial behavior, and the reason was because it wasn't in the design lines of people connecting Michael Collins' statue with Michael Collins' museum, which was also part of this master plan. So it was all about connecting the 2 dots and by having a new entrance. And this way, the priority pedestrian is more implemented, and we didn't even need road marking. A little bit of ingredients like placemaking, like water feature, public art, makes also the citizens very much on board because they were involved since the beginning, and they take ownership and maintenance. The streetscape, we didn't have budget for the streetscape, but we had a plan. So what happened is a drainage scheme came on, and with all this excavation work, we were able to fit a nice streetscape because we had it ready. So on the pipeline of this drainage scheme, there was only an additional percentage to be added to have transformative example with creativity and have a place that before looked like that and after looked like this, and before and after. So it's a real new sense of place and community. Back to the OPW case study, this is an example of great collaboration between Cork County Council and the Engineers Department and the cost of flooding of OPW. So the scheme is broad, and our input was in 3 particular zones: the town center as an SEA, the waterfront core, which was a private development as well, and the gateway, the Croppy Road. We delivered great outcome, new wider footpaths, avenues full of trees for biodiversity and climate change, integrated planters in the walls. And you can see how this is different than usual. So we decided to make a decision like cost-effective analysis in terms of exposing the ship piling, for example, in Croppy Road, where we have a timber fencing and delivering transparency, and we have also designed planters inside the ship piling. And Kent Street, again, we also were able to address a one-way street and having out of the OPW investment a new footpath with trees, etc. So the lesson learned is follow the money, and again apply that operation of being ready with the vision. This was my first project actually in a context of multidisciplinary work with Cork County Council. In 2013, it was Douglas, was a land use transport strategy where we delivered public realm. And guess what? We didn't have the money then in 2013, But now we have OPW doing a scheme in Douglas, but because we had the plan done, this is now implemented as the new public ramp in Douglas in Cork City. Same is applicable to roads, and this is TII funding. TII came to Kent to a village called Kila in East Cork, and they designed their design was actually like a national road. It was full of signage. So we inserted that urban design view and public communication and engagement. We delivered planters, we applied DMORs for the first time in TII roads, and delivered sense of place and community. This is our current project with OPW, where my colleagues from the Cost of Flooding are leading a great early stage public participation with the OPW. This is March 2020. We had a public participation day, and we're still continuing with that approach, of holistic approach and community outcome. These are a few prizes that our schemes won, and including the very prestigious European prize, or the Guber Prize, for excellence in contemporary intervention in historical center. The best part is this: when we all have spent our money, we have done all the design, we just step back, and the best award is actually what is the space used for. So this is the Chamber of Commerce in Clonakilty Main Street. After the building of their Main Street, they decided to do a massive festival. And it was incredible to see how the town actually became a stage of beautiful events where everybody was happy. They all had very big disruption during the construction, but there was a sense of inclusiveness. The asylum or refugees, they came and they're all together. The place looked, as I said in the beginning, from William Shakespeare quote, all the world is a stage. And you can see it clearly. There is a video which I will share with you. You can actually see, and this is the opening of the square and the streetscape. So again, it's a stage to linger longer is my message. And to finish, as I started with Young Gael, Young Gael says, a good city is like a good party. People stay longer than really necessary because they are enjoying themselves. Thank you.